This is Mouth Media Network. Amplify and connect.
The following program is based on actual events. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, along with the locations, events, order of events, words, and entire story. Okay, basically, we made the whole thing up. So sue us. Actually, please don't. We blew our last time recording this promo. So that would be a waste of time. Unless you actually sued us, then we did a story based on that actual event, made some money, then paid you. Then that program would be based on actual events. For now, this is Funny People Talking.
Hi, I'm Ben Lillie, one of the co-founders of Caveat, and I would much rather be at the pharmacist getting medication for this cough than listening to funny people talking.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Funny People Talking. I'm Mark Rako. I'm one of your hosts, and unfortunately Danielle is not here with us today. She was called away at the very last minute, and she went running. I don't know who called her, but someone called her, and she's not here. So anyway, we missed you, Danielle, but I am very fortunate. Anyway, this is one of those great moments where I get to co-host directly with our producer, Elsie. Hi, Elsie.
Hi.
Happy New Year. This is our first show that we've done since before Christmas, actually. What a great holiday season it's been. And it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm all right.
Haven't seen much of you lately.
Yeah.
What you been up to since Christmas? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but anything exciting?
No.
All right, then. Good coverage there. Oh, you know what we did do, though?
What?
So our last show before this was the Latina Christmas special show.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of our de facto holiday show.
Mm-hmm.
And
we went.
We went.
We saw those
you and I went
funny
together.
ladies, yeah.
And it was
cool.
It was a great time.
It was a great time.
It was wacky, man. Wacky.
They're very talented. And they're a good blend of different personalities and different stories and different types of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, that episode with the Latina Christmas special, and by the way, to our listeners, if you haven't heard that one, definitely go back and hear it. It's lots of fun. It's also our most popular episode ever by far. So there's something about the combination of Latina Christmas special altogether that seems to be a winning formula.
Well, they have a lot of followers. Like, they have fans upon fans upon fans, and now they're bi-coastal.
Very nice. I was thinking of having a French Halloween special and see how that flies.
No.
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 Okay. The producer has spoken.
Famously into Halloween, French people.
They are. That voice you hear is Mr. Ben Lillie. He is our guest today.
Hello.
And how lucky are we? Ben, thanks so much for joining us. A bit on the last minute side. Was searching for a cool, we decided to record, kind of thinking about different guests we could have. I kind of stumbled a little bit across Caveat. Loved what you guys are doing. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yay.
And maybe even explore. I'm going to put my cards on the table. How what we're doing here with Funny People Talking might even find a way to collaborate. So, Ben Lillie is a co-founder and a CEO of Caveat, which its tagline is "Making Entertainment Smarter." We're going to find out what the hell that means and what you guys are doing. I happen to know, but you will discover it soon. But also, that is hardly it. Ben is also a physicist turned storyteller. He kind of also became a mixer of academics and performance. He is a founder of The Story Collider, a former TED writer, and a Moth Slam Champion. He also has a certificate for improv studies and performance. He's been around the block on the improv thing, and he's just an interesting freaking guy. We're going to find a lot more about him coming up, but I have a feeling he ain't going to disappoint. So, and I want to figure out how he and his co-founder Kate Downey ended up collaborating on Caveat. I have a feeling, I don't know that story, but I have a feeling there's something interesting about it.
There's a story. I don't think we've ever told it on a podcast before.
Well, there we go. Bingo bango.
Breaking news.
It is. Beep, 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 beep. But looking forward to that. We're, of course, ahead as usual. We're going to catch up a little bit. We're going to play an improv game, a brand new improv game. And we pretty much play improv games we've made up on this show. Mm-hmm. They are probably generally somewhat genetically connected to variations on existing improv games that many people play, but they're our own unusual take on them usually. Cool. And then we'll find out all about what Ben Lillie is about and more about Caveat. And then, of course, our very first end of show food for 2020. Can't wait to see how Elsie's going to kick the year off. Is it a good one?
It's not rat.
It's.
I'm glad.
Again, we miss you, Danielle. But before we start, I do have a question for you, Elsie.
What?
I noticed when you came in, you had a pet chihuahua.
It's not mine.
It's not yours.
No.
Well, the reason that I thought it was so interesting is the chihuahua was completely covered with little bells all the way around, like kind of clipped to its fur. Mm-hmm. And it didn't seem to be bothering him, but boy, was it making a racket.
Yeah.
So do you have any idea? But it looked like it came in with you.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
It's my neighbor's.
It's your neighbor's chihuahua.
Yeah. She adopted it. And she's not very well-sighted human being. So she stuck bells all over it so she could always know where it is so she doesn't step on it.
A single bell would have not sufficed?
No.
Why?
She's kind of OCD.
Oh, so if you're going to put one bell in, you got to even it out?
Well, she has to cover it and make sure it's really dinging. She's kind of a dingy broad.
Oh.
No, it's a dingy dog.
It's a dingy dog.
No. But anyway, yeah. So that's my neighbor's dog. And
Okay.
I'm dog sitting because she's out of town.
How are you sleeping with that dog?
I don't sleep with the dog.
Well, I know you don't sleep with the dog. How is none of your business doing with the dog? None of your business is Elsie's cat.
None of your business is usually out.
Oh, playing in a jazz band.
Clubs.
Jazz
Mm-hmm.
band.
Yeah.
Her cat plays in a jazz band.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yeah, he plays saxophone.
Saxophone. So, but does this dingy dog keep you awake?
No, I shut the door.
Okay. This poor dingy dog. All right. Well, that was a reasonable explanation for
She
that.
just said I had to take care of it. She didn't say I have to love it.
Fair enough.
Could it join the band with the bells?
If it could keep time, I suppose. But that's not up to me. That's up to none of your business. So, and he knows he's there. So,
All right.
we'll see.
I am going to on the show. Usually, when Danielle is here, she has a nerd
You
tip.
didn't ask me the name of the dog.
Oh, what's the name of the dog?
Tinkerbell.
Of course it is. Oh, well, if you just clap your hands a few times, what happens when you clap your hands for Tinkerbell?
Lights go on and off.
Oh, because of your clapper? You have the clapper?
No, of course not.
No,
I
it's
just
installed
felt
on
like
the
saying
dog.
that.
But then why do the lights go on and off with the clapping?
Because I'm full of crap. And they don't. I just said that.
So you have the crapper?
The crapper and the clap.
Crap. The crapper. Okay. Thanks for that explanation. Now, usually Danielle has a nerd tip that we launch the show with. I'm not going to put you in the position of having to do a nerd tip unless you happen to have one handy. I know that you're super into food. Everyone that knows you knows that. So I want to see if I can challenge you to offer a food tip.
Just a tip. Food tip. Always clean your plate. I don't know.
Okay. A cooking tip?
Okay, here's one. I got you.
Uh-huh.
If you didn't like something when you were little and you haven't tried it since, you should try it again because your palate changes.
There you go.
Food tip. You might be missing out on something that's your next favorite food.
So
I've actually had people, experience that.
What's something that you ate as a child that you didn't care for that you tried again as an adult and now you love?
Bacon.
Really?
Yeah.
How
Isn't that
interesting.
crazy?
It is crazy.
Yeah. So I didn't like it because of the texture. I didn't like it. I only liked it as an adult, I learned I like it well done, very crispy and stuff. But I didn't know, when you're a kid, you don't know what to ask for or how to change something like that because you're not cooking and you don't know how to describe what it is necessarily. So, but I've had, the biggest thing I find is people say they hate cheese. And there's so many kinds of cheese. And so I say, well, when's the last time you had cheese? And they're like, when I was 5, I was sick, and I guess they associated the cheese with their illness, which is probably not true. But so they try cheese and they find they love it, and they find out there's all kinds. There's soft, there's hard, there's mild, there's stinky, there's whatever. So yeah.
All right. So
you never know what you're missing.
What about you, Ben? Is there a food that you didn't care for as a child, but you did give it another go as an adult, and it worked out for you?
Maybe. I'm thinking there's one that goes the other way, which is growing up, I loved borscht. Which is weird. I grew up in Oregon. There's no reason for it. But, and now as an adult, I'm just like, I don't hate it. It's just fine. Man, maybe as a kid, I was into it.
On it.
Yeah.
My mom made us eat carrot sticks a lot during a certain periods, and now I'm like kind of over them.
My mom would freeze peas in a bag and then tell me they were green candy. Yeah, it's clever. She's real proud of herself for that one.
So your bar for candy was pretty low as a child. It's like, you must have tasted like a Tootsie Roll when you were 15 and go, what the hell?
Yep. Oh, she is so proud of herself for that one.
Oh,
she
that's
tells
pretty
that story
smart.
all the time. Yeah.
That's pretty smart. Yeah, I think Brussels sprouts for me is one that I was pretty surprised. I like them now. I will say I don't like them just like broiled, but if you do like what they put the vinegar on them or whatever, the
balsamic,
vinegar, and stuff like that on them and broil them or whatever they do now.
Honey and balsamic and maybe like chili,
yeah, it's
little
nice.
chili oil or chili paste or something.
There's a restaurant my wife and I like to go to, a pub that makes amazing Brussels sprouts. They also serve, I don't know if this will hit you between the eyes here, Ben. They serve a blueberry chipotle chicken wings. And they are to die for.
Yeah, I could see that.
Surprisingly. And then like the blueberries are often just sort of draping off the pile of wings. And oh, yeah. Anyway, you know what, Elsie? Why don't you tell me to start the show?
Why don't you start the show?
Okay. A little energy and motivation there. Here we go.
From the Mouth Media Network studios in New York City, this is Funny People Talking with Mark Rako, Danielle Beckman, and Elsie.
Hey everybody, Funny People Talking. We're here with Ben Lillie. He is a physicist turned storyteller turned, I don't even know what he's turned, but he's turned into something, and we're going to find out.
I just spin in circles. It's good.
In circles. But he probably knows something about the centrifugal force of that.
Yep.
That circle. Elsie, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot been going on in the world lately. What has been affecting you the most, do you think?
I guess just...
Are you watching politics?
No.
Are you paying attention to the weather?
Well, yeah, I ask what the weather is every day, but it's usually wrong. That's one of those jobs that you can't really get fired from if you're wrong every day.
Really?
Haven't you noticed?
Well, it is a do-over every
Weatherman's
day.
wrong a lot, but he's still there.
I know. When do we start saying weather person?
I don't know.
It's got to be at the point in time.
Yeah. I don't look at stuff on social media so much because I don't want to see all that garbage.
I just say weather app. It's not a person anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it's Alexa to me. That's one of the questions I ask every morning to Alexa. Alexa, what's the weather? By the way, anyone playing this on their speaker, you're welcome. Asked Alexa today. Apparently today, when they were recording this, is National Bubble Wrap Day.
Cool.
So I said, "Hey Alexa, happy Bubble Wrap Day." I think I said it, and it went, "Thank you. Pop, pop, pop."
Oh, jeez.
Who thinks of this stuff? Who at Google is going, all right,
Amazon.
we gotta have... or Amazon, excuse me. See? Branding's just not strong enough yet. I just didn't know it.
There are different kinds of evil. We will get into that in a minute.
Okay.
But you have to be very specific. You can't just say what's the weather to her.
That's true.
Or it. Because if you just say what's the weather, it doesn't tell you if it's going to rain. You have to say, is it going to rain?
That's true.
I can't tell you how many times I forget to ask that. It's like, is it going to rain? Gotta ask that. Because otherwise, that thing's not going to tell you. It's going to just tell you the temperature.
That's right.
It's true.
And now Alexa's got that dumb thing that it's doing, which is like, have a nice day or something like that, right? I hope you have a nice day. And I'm like, that's good like one time. You know? All right, what about subway experiences? Anything happened to you? I mean, I haven't seen you in weeks.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened to you in all that time except for the dingy dog.
Right.
I had something happen yesterday, I think it was. So I'm famous, or I'm not famous. I'm notorious would be a better word for interactions with the homeless. Not like a horrible way, but like, okay, so one happened to me yesterday. So I go to Whole Foods and get something to eat or whatever, and I see this homeless guy walking around. I assume he's homeless. I guess I always assume they're homeless. Just because it's a beggar doesn't mean they're homeless, I guess. It just may mean they're industrious. I don't know. But and he's like, please give me some money. I'm hungry. I need to eat. Really like pathetically like that, you know, please. And I'm not like making fun of him. That's kind of how he was. And I'm just like, man, this guy's really desperate. I have a heart. So I went in and I grabbed a banana, and he had even come into the Whole Foods and was begging inside there to the people, right? Which means he's really like, he's going the full entrepreneurial route here. Like he's not sticking out on his turf. He's coming right into the retail store to where people are already spending money. So I walk out with the banana and I come to him, excuse me. And he kind of gets startled and he turns to me just for a second, like side eyes me. And I go over and I go, here's some food. And he goes, no. And I go, here's some food. You were begging, saying you're hungry. Here's food. And, you know, it's a completely unpeeled banana. Nothing can be wrong with it, right? I'm walking right out of a store. And he turned to me. He goes, get the F out of here. So I didn't say it that way. And I'm like, but here's food for you. And he goes, get the F away from me. Get away from me. And it's not that this shocked me because I have experience, as maybe all of us have. People are not always delighted for you to give them food, even though they're asking for food, because they just want the money for other purposes. But I was shocked that he didn't even just like take it to make me go away, or he didn't just say no, thanks, or whatever. He was so aggressive to me for trying to do a nice thing for him. I couldn't believe it.
Wonder if it's a mental health. I mean, a lot of that is mental health problems, like some triggered something, which is, like there was a great traumatic banana moment in his youth that someone came up to him and attacked him with a banana, and that just sent him right into PTSD hell, maybe. Oh. I'm being humorous about it, but who knows? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he fell in like he used to work at a banana factory and fell in a vat and got buried, and I don't know, there's a lot of possibilities. Do you think there's a banana story behind that there, Elsie?
I don't know.
That's it?
Yeah.
You just don't know?
Nope.
Okay.
Bet you're missing Danielle right about now.
Yeah, right about now. I'm missing her pretty good. No, guess what I did for Christmas?
Lost your 2 front teeth?
No. I saw Star Wars.
Oh.
And then got Chinese food with my wife. I saw Star Wars with my wife and got Chinese food with my wife. I should just clarify that. Did you see the Star Wars yet, Elsie?
Yeah.
What did you think about it? Did you see it, Ben?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm a terrible nerd.
Well, no.
I usually don't see movies right away. I usually see them like 3 years after they're out.
Yeah.
But that one I saw because I had time.
I enjoyed it. I don't know that I would say that I walked away from it going, oh my God, that was amazing. I think I went away going, that was pretty good.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. a good time. You know what else?
But I don't read any of the stuff people write about it.
Nah.
I don't.
Screw them. Did you watch Picard yet?
I did. Oh, man. I'm excited.
I have to say, it was a pretty good quality show.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for more.
I've been catching up on Discovery, and I'm like, yeah, it's an okay show. And I watched Picard, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be good.
This is just like, yeah. You know what it's like to me? Have you, as a self-proclaimed nerd, I'm going to guess that you've also watched the Battlestar Galactica series from a few years ago.
Only 2 or 3 times through the whole thing.
To me, literally sci-fi aside, I really believe that Battlestar Galactica, that rebooted series. Do you know the original Battlestar Galactica only lasted 1 season?
Yeah, and it was terrible. It's real bad.
But I mean, I didn't realize it was only on for 1 season. Yeah. But it and looking back at it, it really is terrible.
Yeah.
But what else you can expect from Aaron Spelling or whatever, right? But anyway, the man that made Battlestar Galactica, or was that Glenn Larson? It might have been Glenn Larson.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
In any event, sorry, whoever I've singled out that wasn't associated. But I really believe that the newer Battlestar Galactica, and listen, folks, if you've never seen this show, sci-fi aside, this literally might be one of the best TV series made in the last, say, 20 or 30 years. Right up there with like Breaking Bad and other cinematic, where every episode is like its own incredible feature film, beautifully acted, incredible design and production, and just world class. And to me, from a special effects standpoint, completely reinvented space imagery and battles and stuff like that, and brought you into it in a really interesting way. Because what happens is, like in the space battles, in addition to them just being like incredible special effects, they do this sort of shaky camera and quick zooms and stuff, and really an interesting new approach to it. The same way that like J.J. Abrams did like the lens flares and stuff, and but that created a new look. And,
yeah, well, they were one of the first, I think, dramas to introduce the notion that it was a handheld cam to like make it feel documentary like.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
So
also the scoring, Bear McCreary is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, incredible. I didn't know that's who did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, incredible. The reason I brought it up is Picard feels similar to me, where it's that cinematic, beautiful storytelling.
Well, and spoiler, the evil things are the robots. I mean, we don't know yet, but...
well, there's robots anyway.
Yeah,
there's
there are robots.
Artificial, or whatever they call them, synthetics. Mm-hmm. So I apologize to all of you who have no interest in this conversation at all, but that's what we do here.
we're going to talk about that the entire rest of the time.
That's right.
Yep.
Now, really, I feel bad that Danielle's not here. This is right up her lane, too. So, okay. Maybe
I like Boxy.
Oh, yeah. almost as good a sound effect as from Buck Rogers. No,
I don't like that.
No. I forget what that character's name was. Do you know what that character's name was?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You never saw Buck Rogers?
No.
Oh,
yeah,
my
terrible
man.
Nerd.
Nah, it's all right. Yeah. It's all right. You can't watch them all. Mm-hmm. With Gil Gerard. That was a strange show. But I watched it. I enjoyed it. Did you hear they might remake Quantum Leap?
No.
Why?
Yes. I don't know.
I'm really getting sick of people rebooting stuff that shouldn't be.
There's nothing new.
So annoying.
Wait, are they is what's his name going to star in it again? Because that would be the
Scott
funniest
Bakula.
part. Yes.
So
yes.
What
Scott Bakula?
They were talking, from what I saw, with Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell, who were the original stars of Quantum Leap, about reprising their characters. Now, I don't know if that's for the run of the series to kick off the first episode. Maybe Scott Bakula will play the equivalent of the Dean Stockwell character. Who knows what they'll do. So, I mean, like in Battlestar Galactica, one of the original stars, can't think of his name, but he played Apollo in the original series. He came back and he played a different character through a good deal of the series.
The villain criminal guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Tom Zarek.
Yeah, there you go.
I only remember that because one of my best friends' name is Zarek. That's the only reason that I would catch on to that. So anyway, if you haven't watched Battlestar Galactica, you should. If you haven't watched Picard yet, Star Trek Picard, you should, because honestly, maybe you don't even have to be a Star Trek fan to enjoy it.
I don't think so. There's nothing fan servicey in there.
And if you haven't watched Buck Rogers in the 24th century or whatever it's called, 25th century, don't worry about it. There's better shows on. All right, maybe it's time for an improv game. I have a new game I'd like to try. It's called Play by Play. And the idea is that since we have 3 people here, 2 people will be play-by-play announcers, just like you'd see in an NFL game or any other game. And they're doing play-by-play for an everyday, ordinary activity. And maybe Elsie and I will start it out together. We'll do the play-by-play. And what I need from you, Ben, is an everyday, ordinary activity that would be akin to cutting your toenails or whatever suits you. I don't want to limit your options here. And Elsie and I will do a play-by-play as if it is the most incredible sporting event ever.
All right. The person is crossing 14th Street.
All right, got it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cross Bowl here in New York City. I'm Mark Rico, and with me, as always, right to my left is Elsie. Elsie, we've got a hell of a crossing game today.
Yeah.
So, Elsie, that's great color commentary there for sure. All right, coming up to the crosswalk, looks to be a male, approximately 15 to 16 years old. Looks in great shape.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's see how this is going. Coming up to the curb now, it looks rather crowded across the crosswalk. I'm not sure exactly when he's going to make his... Oh, it looks like he is launching from the curb. No, it was a false start. It appeared to be just a stretch. Elsie, that looks like one of the best stretches I've seen in ages on this particular course.
Maybe.
So the crosswalk. Thanks for the help there, Elsie.
I'm waiting for my turn.
Okay, so he is launching across the crosswalk, taking wide steps. He's approaching the middle,
but he's got to stop.
He's got to stop. He does.
Bicycle riding in the lane the wrong way.
That appears to be a foul for sure. No,
bicycle almost hit him.
The referee, amazingly, the referee has not called a foul. We're still in play. He's still crossing. I don't know where that bicycle came from.
Crossing guard, traffic cop, useless.
Traffic cop was
not even looking the
useless.
Direction of the way that people need him.
That just seems to be the way things seem to be going these days, isn't it, Elsie? It
always
never seems to be a great call when you need it. And they've done away with the instant replay here on Cross Bowl this year, which is unfortunate.
Because it was such an exciting thing to have those replays.
It was. So here we go. He's past the halfway mark. He's almost across. And it looks like, a woman has lost her balance and is interfering with him. He's going to have to step out of the way. It does look like he might just clear. Oh, it's a complete body check. Looks like groceries have gone everywhere.
Everyone's going to have to step over all that stuff.
It appears they may be stopping the clock for this one. We are stopped at 5 seconds to go in this incredible game. I've never seen
cars are going to run over the groceries.
It does appear there are cars approach. Oh, it looks like he's gotten up. He's picked up the last of the groceries. The woman's on her way. He's almost across the street, and there he goes. He's so close. He's in it. He's going. He has crossed the street, completed the crossing,
and it's a score.
It is a score. We've never seen anything like this. And that is the end of the game, everybody, right here at Crosswalk 2020. Well, I don't know about you, Elsie, but I'm exhausted. What a game. So,
There you go.
I might be more exhausted than you, but
I don't know. I'm pretty tired.
yeah, I'm going to explain a lot. So anyway, we'll see you here next week as we graduate from crosswalking to dog walking. It's going to be Dog Walk 2020. Yes, with a special appearance by the Dingy Dog. That's the halftime show.
Yeah.
So Tinkerbell. So that's it.
So just a little, getting the listeners excited.
Oh yeah, now that the game is completed and you pipe in finally, yeah.
The dog walking, there's going to be all kinds of stuff like other dogs, how they interact with the dogs, babies, strollers, skateboarders, picking up the poop.
Yeah.
Lack of trees in New York City.
All of that would have been
so
useful
much more
earlier in the game.
Yeah, well, you started it though. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I had no chance. No chance.
Yes, that's what happened. I never threw it to you. You never piped in. Anyway, for Elsie, I'm Mark Rico here at Cross Bowl 2020. Have a great day, everybody. Drink Budweiser. All right, thank you for that, Elsie, I guess. So anyway, so that was one round of play-by-play.
It was hysterical.
It was hysterical. It was great. So how about, Elsie, you give me and Ben, we'll try it again. Ben, you can take the lead on this a little bit if you like. And why don't you give us an everyday activity that we can make exciting.
Riding up and down the elevator in your office building.
Sure. All right. Welcome to the Elevator Marathon. I'm Ben, here with Mark.
Yeah, what a day here in Detroit.
Oh, they are getting warmed up on the ground floor. I see coffees in every hand. People are fueling up to go up for the first lap. And we're waiting for someone to push the button. People are making small talk.
Yeah.
I don't think they've noticed that no one has pushed it yet.
You know, when you don't push the button, sometimes the elevator doesn't come. You have to push the button and it'll light up and then
First thing
the
they teach
elevator
you.
comes.
First thing they teach you. And we're looking at all the players, and it looks like one of them has just noticed. He excused himself from the small talk conversation and pushed the button. So we are officially go.
We are officially. Oh, and an interesting development. The red-haired lady has also come forward and pushed the button, although the light was already indicated.
Yes.
Someone had pushed it.
You got to push it
before.
twice. It does nothing else, but you got to do it.
There's really no physical proof that accelerates the elevator's arrival, though. But people
studies.
still do it. Anyway,
and here it is.
Yep.
Elevator doors have opened. There is a ding. It's a very good ding.
Ding for sure. Definitely a ding. Well, among the better dings I've seen or heard, I guess the expression would
You can
be.
see them if you have synesthesia.
That's
some of the players do. That gives them an advantage. And in fact, one of them is they are fighting over who's going to go first. Looks like the red-haired lady has decided it's going to be her, and she is first in the elevator, and everyone else follows in an orderly fashion.
Now, interestingly, she waited for the other people to get in before she turned around, which is an unusual strategy that we don't usually see deployed this early in the game. But they're not all facing the right way, and we're just waiting for the elevator door to close.
Yep.
It's funny, Ben, sometimes some elevators close more quickly than other elevators, and then there are those that close so quickly you almost take your arm off.
Yep, and there's some that just sit there, and you're like, is it broken? And I think maybe it's broken, and then it starts to close, and then there comes another player to hold the door.
Well, geez,
moving it back open.
That's a surprise for sure. Late entry to this game that we did not expect, and interestingly, he's a rather small person, so I think anyone looking ahead might have missed him coming if they weren't looking down. That could have been dangerous. We could have another injury just like we did in 74.
Yeah.
So anyway,
we don't want that one again.
Doors have closed, and it looks like we're on our way now.
Players are pushing the buttons. I see a 3, a 7, a 13, 24.
A 12. Now that's a surprise.
12,
They don't get 12 very often these days. It seems to be a clever move there. I wonder if the coach Pete Russell had rustled that one up. That's good.
Bringing back the old 12.
Yeah. So anyway, it looks like 3 definitely is the first stop there.
3 is the smallest number.
Now, who's going to get out on that? Sometimes one person pushes the button, and then more than one person gets off, and we don't expect that. It looks like doors have opened, and I don't know, Ben, you see this coming, this new play here?
Well, it looks like we've got, just the one person getting out. This was a straighter, normal play. nothing surprising on this one.
Yeah.
One person got out, went over towards their office, and that's it for them. They're out of the game.
And the doors are closed again. Looks like that first play was not a score, but it was a very good first effort. Definitely advanced forward on the field. Next up, we've got
Going up
number
to seven, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
this
Up.
seven.
Floor seven.
Interestingly, though, it does appear the elevator's slowing, but the number 7's not lighting up.
Oh, boy.
There may
Got a broken
be a
lamp.
technical issue, and it may have to hold the play for
Oh,
a
boy.
moment here. No, it looks like they're moving on, and the doors are opening. They're going to live with the technical difficulty. It doesn't seem to be affecting the game.
You know, sometimes the bulb is out. Players are adapting, changing their strategy to deal with the fact that the light's not on. But I don't see anyone getting out.
Yeah, that's a
No
very
one's getting
surprising move. I noticed that as well. No one getting. Oh, you know what it is?
someone
Here
put-
comes someone getting on.
Ah.
I didn't expect that, but they had pushed the button,
Yep.
which is the strange thing.
Yep.
Did someone anticipate?
Oh,
this
maybe
play?
they're doing a sneak
See
play where
ahead.
somebody
It
is
is
prepped at floor 7.
It might be a blitz of sorts. I think. And we're moving again, and looks like we're coming up to 11. And it's that is unexpected, Ben. Unexpected entirely. The elevator has not stopped at the indicated floor. And wait a minute, it appears there's a problem. The elevator. Hold on, we're getting some information here from down on the field. Flag on the play. The elevator has stopped. It appears that there is a technical malfunction. This will be a reversal and a hold for 5 minutes for a response. Well, it does appear that there has been an unusual circumstance. Not unheard of, though. This does happen from time to time.
It does. Bounce once every 500,000 trips on the elevator, I believe.
Exactly. They are pushing the emergency bell, which I don't really know exactly what that's supposed to do, but it might be to distract the other players, man.
Yeah. All the noise, the ringing, the waiting to see if anyone's going to pick up at the other end.
And they're moving again.
Ah.
Moving again, coming to 12. Doors open, and the remaining players have exited. And the last one is the
red-haired lady.
The red-haired lady, which
She played it
which
perfectly.
She did. She's been a consistent player throughout the game from beginning to end. She's made her mark. I think there's real possibility she may be the MVP.
I think so. You know, not turning at the beginning. That does it.
You know, they always
play.
used to throw me when I played pro. So anyway, we have made it to 12 today. Red Hair Lady is the MVP. That's it for Elevator Bowl, I guess.
Yep. Elevator marathon. Yeah, we switched games in the middle.
Brought to you by Bic. The best lighter in all the circumstances. It's not for
Especially in
elevator
a closed
use.
elevator. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Hey, Ben. That's how you do it. Fantastic. That's play-by-play. Elevators.
You guys had a 13th floor in your elevator.
We
right?
did.
We
Yeah.
did, but we
That's
chose
rare,
to.
but you chose 12th floor as rare.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, then we'd have to go into the sequel, and the hell dimension comes in. It's all a big
Exactly.
problem.
It's a whole thing.
I was interested to see if there would be any of those people who are on their phones and then miss their floor. kind of thing. Yeah, I was waiting
would've
to see
been
if
great.
that happened.
That would have been a good idea. I was trying to do a little bit of the oh my God, John Madden.
So here's the trick. I watch approximately 0 hours of sports per decade.
Well, the thing,
so
so
I'm not
John,
going to pick up on
John Madden as announcer, he's very famous, as amazing as he is, for talking through the most basic things. You know, sometimes when you trip, you fall down.
Oh, good.
You know, so he kind of talks like that. It's like, you know, sometimes when you don't make it to the goal line, well, there's no score involved, you know, and so I'm exaggerating.
Nice.
But, all right.
Cool.
Anyway,
It was
that was
fun.
fun. Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thanks for playing that. I think that's possible. It's possible that game could come back in the future. We have winners and we have losers on this show. That wasn't a loser per se. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to learn all about Ben Lillie and all the things that he does in physics, in caveat, in TED, in everything.
Indeed.
Indeed. I like that. Right after this.
The artist Prince was once known as a symbol. If we were known as a symbol, it would probably be a smear of grape jelly. Or possibly banana pudding. Nope, grape jelly, definitely grape. This is Funny People Talking.
Welcome back, everybody. And before we get started with All About Ben, we have to talk all about Tina. As a tradition on this show, we have a great desire and intention, a determination, if you will, on this show that someday, somehow, the great and powerful Tina Fey will make an appearance on this show, whether by phone, drive-by, postcard, or actually in one of these seats, one way, somehow. So every show we send out to the comedy gods, we throw it out to the universe, we put our energy out there and pray for Tina Fey. And you can feel free to join us if you wish, Ben, no pressure. But Elsie and I will take a moment right now to pray. Oh, comedy gods, please deliver Tina Fey.
We'll even let you come on the show and promote your
It's
movie.
2020, don't you
Girls, the
think it's
musical. If that's all it takes, we'll do it.
Please, we will promote.
We'd love to have you on the show. Thanks.
We'll give our vote to Tina Fey.
Tina.
Amen. Thank you. So, Tina, please come on the show. We love you. We really do. You don't know that so much, but I promise you, we can deliver.
If you listen to every episode, you'll hear that we mean it.
That's it. We really, really do. Okay. Ben, Lillie.
Hello.
Hi. So you're on Caveat, which we will take a look at in just a moment. You are a guy who did this, then went to this, then went to this.
A few different things, yeah.
So you've had a bit of a journey. One thing leads to another, but you take a little piece of what you were before and bring it into the next thing.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That's a good way of putting it.
Okay. So my question is, how would you define yourself? Meaning, if there is a through line through these things, what do you think it is?
I have always been obsessed with mixing. It's gone through different phrasings, but obsessed with mixing ideas and science with something to do with entertainment. So actually, one of the first things, the first play I fell in love with back in high school was Arcadia by Tom Stoppard, where he does.
I've been in that show.
Oh, who were you?
Honestly, it's literally been almost 25 years since I did it. So I'm trying to remember. Why don't you go ahead and tell why this show is so important to you, and it may give me an opportunity to comment on it, because I don't want to.
Sure. I mean, it's a brilliant. I mean, Stoppard was a genius level playwright and like polymath. He read and thought about everything. So a lot of his work did this stuff where it would mix in weird, in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, his other super famous one, there's all this stuff about probability and mixed in with existential angst and all these things. And so in Arcadia, he takes chaos theory and mathematics and the notion of entropy and the heat death of the universe and folds that into this family drama surrounding Lord Byron and poetry. And it also gets mixed up so it's split into two parts. There's a modern part and a Victorian part that happen in the same room, and you get to see the different people. And in the modern part, it's historians trying to figure out what had happened in the Victorian part. And he does this beautiful thing where they get part of it right and they get other things completely wrong. And you get to see this uncertainty of historical knowledge while they're talking about the nature of entropy and also who's fucking who and Lord Byron and all of this stuff. And it's just gorgeous mixing of all of these things.
Yeah. It is amazing, because one of the things I loved about it, which I assume was the way it's supposed to be staged, is the entire thing is in one. There's a table in the middle, and what happens is it happens in two time frames,
and they'll pick up the same item.
Yeah, you'll take an item in the 1800s or whatever it's supposed to be. You put it down on the table, and then someone in the 1900s in their scene will pick up that same object, and you begin to understand that it's there as a relic.
And there's layers in that. One of the things they put down is a turtle, and these turtles live that long, so it maybe was the same one. And it's
just incredible. And I remember it was one of the most moving shows I was ever in, because there's, without ruining the ending for anybody, it's a rather tragic ending.
It was written 30 years ago. You can spoil it.
It's a tragic ending. Yeah. It's such a sad, tragic, but beautiful ending.
It's also a pun Like this is the thing about stuff. I am going to spoil it for the audience. I apologize.
Okay.
Skip ahead if you want to hear this. But so the main character is going on about the notion of entropy, which leads to the heat death of the universe, which is when everything just sort of fades out. She died in a fire. And so there's literally a pun embedded in this tragedy where, yeah, that guy's he's too smart.
So this show to you inspired.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the kind of thing I remember globbing onto. Just this way of mixing the humanistic side with the scientific academic side of things. And so I did a long detour where I was just a physicist for 8 or 9 years. I don't know. Went to grad school, did a postdoc, and then realized I wanted to do something more humanistic. I wanted to be around people and doing things, and also the field I was in was dead. That's a whole separate story. Yeah, so I've always liked the idea of blending. So is the through line is take something like science and put it in a place where you wouldn't expect, where it touches on human emotion or other things in some way, and make those two things go together.
Very cool. By the way, I remember my character's name. It was Richard Noakes.
Oh yes. The
gardener.
the garden designer. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, very interesting. Okay, so let's back up a little bit now. So Caveat is your current primary undertaking.
Yep.
Tell us how that came to be with your co-founder and why it exists and what you're trying to do.
Sure. So we're going to step back a few ways here. So
Is it better if we start at the beginning and lead up to this? Does that make more
fold
sense?
it around. I can tell this story in a lot of ways.
Yeah, fold it around.
So I was doing physics, quit in a huff, and if you're really curious, I told that story on the Moth. You can Google it. And gets mixed in with all kinds of mental health issues and understanding our place in the universe, that kind of thing. But moved to New York, not really knowing what I was going to do, except that it was going to be this kind of writing blending thing. So of course I took improv comedy at UCB. Just because people told me to, I don't know. That wasn't meant to sound more ridiculous than it came out. But so I did that, found the Moth and storytelling, and stumbled along with Brian Wecht and Aaron Barker on this idea of, we could just do Moth style stories, but about science, and just very directly do this thing we'd all been wanting to do, which is just have people tell true stories about science and get at the emotion that way. So that's where the Story Collider came from. That is now a juggernaut being run by Aaron and the new executive director, Liz Neely. And then in the middle of that, I needed a day job, and Ted hired me for some reason. And so I got to see what they were doing in this grandiose, big scale. This is TED Talks for people who are wondering why I'm talking about a guy named Ted. And had sort of built up this experience of looking at different ways of doing performative things about science, and through that had gotten in touch with a community of people who were doing things like this. There's something called the Science Festival Alliance. There's in particular the director of the Bay Area Science Festival at the time was doing all sorts of creative new things. There's a guy in town who runs a thing called Nerd Night, where he has people get up and give short 20-minute talks about things that they are passionate about. And through this, got in touch with a lot of scientists who were asking questions like, well, why, we're giving all these science talks. Why aren't more people coming? Why aren't more people, attending? We do these public science events. How do we get audiences? And I, in large part because of my theater and comedy background, realized that the answer was that the events were bad. Like, they just weren't very good as stage performances. And so that led me to this idea that what we really needed was a place where we do science and history talks, but we do it with people who are really good performers, and we make it real entertainment, not copying stuff, not the B-level stuff, but just, we're getting people who genuinely know what they're doing. We're going to make a good entertainment product that is also about these deep questions about the universe. Simultaneously, Kate Downey had been a Shakespeare and opera director. She joined a company called Museum Hack, which I don't know if you know these folks, but they they do guerrilla tours originally of the Met, now museums all over the place. Our museums were like, why does no one want to come visit us? And the museum hack folks answers, it's because you're boring. Like, make this more interesting, make it relevant to people's lives. And that's our same answer for Shakespeare people. It's like, why aren't people going to big theater productions? It's not relevant. You got to do some work and get it relevant to people. So she and I had, and then she also simultaneously fell in love with Buzz Aldrin and Elon Musk and started doing space related stuff. So she and I met sort of in the middle there, like having come from other directions, and decided there needed to be a place where this is what we do and this is what we focus on, and that if we had the actual venue, we could control the programming and do this all the time, make a home for it in New York, and start building out this community of people doing it. So that's why we built Caveat.
And how do you attract audience members? How does that happen? How's, are the acts bringing the audience in, or do you have a kind of a repertory like group of
regulars?
Regulars.
Yeah, it's both. So we book a lot of shows. We do at minimum 60 different shows a month. So a lot of the shows are bringing their audience. It is their job technically to bring the audience in, but we do have at this point a large number of people who will see shows and just be like, oh, that seems interesting, and they know our programming is highly curated enough that they have a general sense of what they're getting into if they come to a show. So we do pretty strongly curate the type of shows that we have so that people will have that experience. So it's right now I'd say it's about 75% the shows bringing in the audience and 25% a regular crowd, and that number has been going up, and we want it to keep going up.
So part of your vetting of an act will be not just are they a good entertainment and have value in the information they're bringing, but are they in a position to bring people in also, whether they have a marketing mechanism or a following themselves.
Correct.
How many people do you have to bring in for a show to be worth being part of your group?
That's a loaded, not loaded, but that's a tough one. But so the benchmarks,
people or?
Yeah. So it's we tell people they have to bring a minimum of 40. The space itself breaks even at about 60, and then we fit 140 total.
Got it. So is it a bit of like a bringer, like you any number of people that you don't bring under your minimum amount, you pay to participate?
We would be. Well, I was about to say we'd be in a better financial place if we did that, but probably not, because I hate places like that, and so do performers. No, it's a bringer model only in the sense that the way we pay people is we split the tickets with them. So the more people come, the more they get paid. But we don't, aside from sometimes, honestly, for various reasons, sometimes we'll set a bar minimum just because we know we need to hit a certain number for a particular show. But other than that, we will not do that.
And where's the theater located, or where's the venue located?
Lower East Side, Clinton Street, just south of Houston. So it's like right in line with Avenue B.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
There's a whole history there, because that space was the two businesses before us was the final home of the Living Theater, and I don't know if you know who they are, but like imagine just batshit insane experimental Lower East Side theater where like the show is 30 naked people rolling around on stage, and then two of them get up and yell at the audience. Like that is literally a show that they did. And so they've been around since the 50s. This building was built in 2007, and they were the first company that was there, until Judith Molina, the founder, passed away, and the company, had to move out of the space. And so it was another theater in between that lasted a few years, and then we took it over, but there's history in that building.
Oh.
I assume that you've had an opportunity to go to the House of Yes in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Have you been to their Dirty Circus?
I have not.
That's an experience. I
feel like we love House of Yes. We think they do incredible work. And we literally worked with some of the people in various capacities. But I feel like we are like mirror universe versions of each other, because so they'll have Dirty Circus. We run a show called Political Circus, where it is literally a circus act, but she is also a political science professor. And so that's, a lot of stuff that happens at House of Yes has the Caveat version, which is just like a parallel universe kind of thing.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that. That's so cool. I just hear like she's eating fire and going like, did you know the Continental Congress was formed? And
not that far off. Okay. So what she does is she'll do, it's Andrea Jones-Roy is her name. She's also a stand-up comedian because she doesn't have enough. But she'll do these like 45-minute long comedic monologues essentially about, the very first one was about how it's impossible to create a voting system that's fair. Just full stop. You can mathematically prove that you can never create a fair voting system, which sucks. But it's one of the reasons all voting systems are horrible, is it just can't be done. So she'll give that talk. And then in the second half, we do some other stuff related to the topic. And then she folds in a circus act. And so like it usually ends with her on a she's mostly a trapeze artist. So it usually ends with her on a trapeze while we have some music video we've created playing, recapping the material that she did. And it goes wild from there.
Have you guys been impressed with the press you've gotten, or are you surprised you haven't gotten more?
We haven't gotten much lately, and that's actually something we're digging in on, because we sort of let it slide for a little bit. But so when we opened, we got some great press. We were very happy. Got some incredible reviews in all the places you'd want to be reviewed. So that went very well. We've done a couple festivals that got some attention. We did, almost a year and a half ago now, we did what we called the Underground Science Festival, which was basically a science festival celebrating people who'd been erased from the history of science. And that's another thing we do a lot of. But so the women and people of color, especially, who generally are written out of these histories, we did a big celebration of that. That got featured in the Times in the art section. Lately, we're rethinking how we pitch stuff, trying to ramp that back up.
How is this different from Story Collider?
Oh, so
it sounds like the mission is similar.
The mission is very similar, but the Story Collider is a specific show and a very successful one that's now in 10 cities across the. But Story Collider is the show is very rigid, in a good way. So it's 5 Moth-style stories in an evening. They get recorded, released on a podcast. They are, they're all true personal stories. They're all centered around a pivotal moment in somebody's life. It's a very specific thing, and so that's sort of like. When I was pitching Caveat to people, it was like the line was, if Story Collider had come out of Caveat, that would have been a huge success. And so what we're trying to do now is grow other shows that are similar in vibe, mission, but different shows, different kinds of things. So Caveat is trying to be an incubator for things like that.
Wow, that is really cool. And then where does Story Slam? Well, that's Moth, but you are Moth Story Slam Champion.
Yeah, that's one of those resume lines that sounds so much better than. So it's so the Moth, which is for listeners who don't know, is a legendary storytelling organization started, I want to say 97, where they didn't originate, but they made very popular this format of, it's about a 10-minute story that is a true story from someone's life, told in this confessional, non-scripted style on stage. So they became very successful. So they started hosting story slams, which were modeled after old New York style poetry slams, where you put your name in a hat, 10 people get called up, you tell a story, and then you get judged. Like, people literally hold up 9.3 or whatever, things judging you. And so if you win that, you're a Moth Story Slam champion. So when I first started doing performance in New York, found comedy and then quickly found the Moth, and I just started going every week. Like, there was a couple years there where I was at almost every Moth Story Slam for a long time. I never won. It doesn't say Grand Slam champion because I never won the Grand Slam. Which is once they have 10 winners of the slams, then they do a Grand Slam, and the winner of that goes on. The Erin Barker, who helped found Story Collider, is a multiple Grand Slam champion, and she is phenomenal on stage.
These are 10-minute stories, you said? Yep. That's a long time.
Well, actually, they're 5 minutes in the slams.
5 minutes, okay. Fascinating.
Yeah.
I could think of one I could tell in that situation. I was trying to think quickly, what stories do I have in my life that would really meet up? I can think of one that would meet that muster, but I don't think I have 10 in me or whatever,
It becomes a thing, and there's different. So the way the Moth like its fuel is the fact that everybody has one. Everybody has a thing you can talk about. And that's where the main stage, which is their curated series, comes from. It's like everybody has this incredible story that can be brought out, and the Moth will work with you, their directors and so forth.
Oh, right, okay.
For the curated one. For the slams, a lot of it is people coming in and just doing their like fun or first one. And then there's a community of people who've like learned how to pull threads on really minor seeming things and pull it until you find, oh, here's the bigger thing that was part of this seemingly small thing that happened. And that has become a very cool art form.
Yeah, that sounds very cool.
And how did you end up in New York?
I had an existential crisis, quit my job, and realized that without a job I could live anywhere, so I may as well live in New York. So I moved.
Might as well go to one of the most expensive places there.
Yep.
That's great.
But at the time, so I had bounced around. So I did the academic thing. So I was in Portland for college, and then I moved down to the Bay Area, and then I moved to Chicago. And the crisis happened in Chicago, and then I was like, I want to live in New York. I've never done that.
So since you've lived in New York, other than what you've created, what is the coolest thing that ever happened to you here in the city? And if tomorrow you think of a different thing, that's fine.
What's the coolest thing that happened in New York? Oh, man. I sort of have two answers for you. One is that, like, living in New York, things just happen that you don't think about much. Like, my friends right now, I last night met up with a friend who I haven't seen in a while. In part because she got a new job and it's moving. And the reason she got this amazing new professor job is she discovered how do I even put this? Basically, she found that people were doing medical research all wrong when they do it on rats and mice. And what they've done, this is annoying. I don't even know where to start with this story. When people do medical research on rodents, they only do it on males because the females go through this estrus cycle that is hard for them to track. And she did studies proving that this was massively skewing all of their results.
Heard about this.
Yeah.
I've actually heard about
yeah,
that.
this is, and so it's like, but someone I met here randomly at a party, that's what she does. And like the fact that keeps happening in New York, and like, it's just like, yeah, one of my other friends has a startup where she is turning ketamine into a treatment for PTSD. Like, it's just like, yeah, sure, why not?
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, my first year here, I got a job. I came here as an actor, and I got a job walking around in a costume dressed like the New Year's ball. It was called Bury the Ball. It was for this organization that put on these New Year's parties in different cities. And it was made by the Jim Henson people, which was cool. And I walked around dressed as, actually I looked like a big grenade. And I was walking around and interacting with people in a kind of like man on the street improv way, you know, like you might see on like the Tonight Show or something, right? But my point is that no one batted an eye.
Right.
No one was like, oh my God, look at that. No, it was
that's
just
just a thing.
It's just a thing.
I'll tell you, the only thing I ever saw on the street in New York that like shocked me was in Times Square seeing a police officer with a machine gun. And that was the one where I'm like, that's weird.
That's where we are.
Like that is different. Yeah. But no, I mean, I was in the Village the other day, and there's this guy walking down the street, and he has this like speaker system attached to him. Yeah. And it's just on a loop playing this thing, which I assume was his voice, just going poop, fart, farting, pooping, farting. It just constantly as he went down the street. I think it must have been, yeah. But it's just like, yeah, that's a thing.
Interesting if that were performance art, however skewed or individually of interest. Yeah. I think about that moment when that person said, you know what I should do?
Yeah, right.
You know, it'd be interesting. And a real view into the human psyche or whatever, a commentary of sorts. And that was the grand plan that was launched and executed. Hilarious. So the question I was leading up to was, so you physicist, particle physicist, yes. And obviously you've been involved with a number of things. Now you're doing Caveat, and this amazing thing that you're attached to a piece of what you were doing and a piece of who you are now and put it together. Do you have your eye on something other than growing Caveat to everything it can be and more?
Well, so the thing is, I realized I love starting new things, building new things, and like reinventing things. So part of the reason we designed Caveat the way we did as this experimental space growing new shows is so that I could stay in one place and keep doing that. So it's designed to let me build new things constantly. So the hope and the idea is to never leave Caveat because I can scratch this itch for always making new things.
It's a lab.
It's always evolving and changing.
Yeah, so I have new
variety.
I have new shows that we're trying to build and like new things we're doing there all the time, and that's sort of the point. I will say we don't think small, and so the plan has always been develop these shows in New York, and then send them out into the world, whatever that means, except that what that means right now is we're launching out a bunch of things as podcasts soon. So we're getting into publishing and all of that.
Now, question about the name, which I'm sure you've gotten before, but the definition of a caveat, dictionary-wise, is a warning or proviso of specific stipulations, conditions, or limitations. Ironically,
Lamentations.
limitations.
Well, that's going on our business
Well,
cards now.
what I'm saying is that doesn't seem to me to align with what you guys are doing. So what was the thinking about that word caveat as your name, given the fact that what you're really doing seems to be the opposite?
Yeah, I'm still stuck on lamentation. I cannot. That is amazing. You can tell I didn't read the dictionary when we named it. We struggled a lot with the name, as I'm sure you know from naming anything. It was a year-long process. So the original idea that became Caveat was October 2015. Signed a lease in August of 2016. We still hadn't named it. It was still called. The first name was Origin. So it was still called Origin at that point. I think we had our LLC, which so legally we're the Idea Distillery LLC, which was just a thing we made up and put on the papers. And I had been going back and forth. So I wanted to call it Origin, which partly because like we were growing things, partly because it referenced the origin of species. And all my friends were like, that doesn't sound like no. And so generated many, many lists of potential names. For a while, I liked the idea of the beagle, which again, there was this whole evolution thing because of Darwin and the beagle. But then everyone was like, that just sounds like a Irish pub. Like that just sounds like a English pub. So at one point we got it. We like had the right answer. We were going to call it the Blue Marble.
Yeah.
After that photo from space. And then they're like, no, that's that ice cream company in Brooklyn. I'm like, yeah,
damn it.
It is.
We could serve Blue Marble here. Would that work?
Yeah. And so, eventually, I was part of this writers group. Here's another New York thing. I was part of this writers group that was a mix of scientists and writers, like journalists and MFA writers, and they got together and blah, blah, blah. But so like you could bring stuff to workshops. So I literally named my company to this workshop. We got nowhere. We spent the whole session on it. And at the end, my friend, I don't remember why. I think we'd been kicking around ideas about like, we want some notion of ambiguity. We want some notion of like, it exists in this in-between space between all of these things. And also some of my friends in the startup space were telling me all the startup rules for names, which it has to be short. It has to have a hard K sound. It has to have there's all these rules that people use in that space. And just at the end of this session, my friend Rebecca is just like, why don't you just call it Caveat? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And that was where
it's a great name.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Yep. I know. I hear you.
It is connected to this idea of like, there's more. Like yes, Caveat has this sense of danger, which we kind of like. Kate and I both like this like sense of slight danger. For a while, we have this like entryway where you go through these curtains, and we wanted to do like a entryway to hell where there's like the abandon all hope type thing. Except we were going to put up there, I think it was a little knowledge. No, wait. Yeah, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, or something like that. Or beware. I forget the exact phrasing. Anyway, we didn't do it when we realized it was Alexander Pope, who's actually fairly anti-Semitic. So we're like, let's not put that up there. But yeah, we had this notion of like, we want a little sense of danger. Like this shouldn't be safe. It should be safe in the sense of like, we're not being dicks to people, but it shouldn't be safe in the sense that like, oh, there's going to be some like challenge to walking in here.
I dig it, man. So how can people connect with Caveat and with you directly and follow the things that you're doing?
Sure. Website is caveat.nyc. Our whole calendar's up there. Like I said, we do 60 plus shows a month, so it's a couple a day. You can find us on all the socials at Caveat NYC. And then I'm on Twitter mainly at Ben Lillie.
Very, very good. Well, I'll tell you, you've earned a new a new audience member here. My wife and I are absolutely going to come. I guess Elsie's probably going to come too. We've absolutely.
For sure.
I got to check this out. Cool. This is going to be a good time.
Amazing.
So what a great night out. And there's so many shows. I mean, if you're doing about 60 a month, I mean, it'd take a while to even get through your current offerings, much less whatever's coming up. So awesome. By the way, before we go on, maybe you don't want to pick out one of your children and highlight them, but any particular show right now that's just got you jazzed that you guys are putting on that just is just so freaking cool?
Well, instead of picking one, I'm going to do this rapid fire. We have Nevertheless She Existed, which is stories of women who have been erased from history. We have Astronaut Training, where comedians and astrophysicists compete to be the team that's going to go to Mars or the moon.
That one caught my eye. And
that one is amazing, run by Corinne Caputo. She's a classic caveat person. Her day job is running a space camp for kids, and she's a comedian. And then I'll also say we're shortly launching our new podcast. Nevertheless She Existed is a podcast right now as well. And then we're shortly launching our new podcast series, Caveat Multiverse, which is going to be where Kate and I play clips from shows that happened at Caveat that sparked us thinking, and then do a dive into the ideas that we heard on stage that night.
Very cool. My appetite has been, I don't know, if wet or whatever. My appetite is, I'm hungry. I'm hungry for this. All right. Can't wait to go see it. Congratulations, really, Ben, Lillie, on everything you've accomplished so far, not just in your career, but in building Caveat with your co-founder. What a great idea. Something that should exist. And I'm really hoping that New York is just the very first city that this exists in.
That's also in the long-term plan. Yes.
I bet it is. So, all right. Thank you very much. And what a great, how smart am I for booking you as a guest, shall I say?
Well, thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is close to the end of the show, which means one thing, and that means it's going to be end of show food. So that is right after that. And should we be excited, Elsie?
Yes.
If it's rat, I'm going to be sad.
I swear it's not rat.
Okay. That's coming up next.
Connect with the show at Mouth Media Network or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. And please, for the love of all that is holy, subscribe to the show and leave us a damn review and a really, really good rating on iTunes. Pretty please? Thank you.
All right, it is the end of the show, which means it is time for End of Show Food. That's right, End of Show Food. That is the part of the show where Elsie shares with us what she scours the world. She goes to online, she visits shops in her travels, she finds cool things, she brings them back. It could be jerky, it could be a weird drink, it could be a weird chip, it could be made of chicken, it could be made of cherries, it could be, I don't know, I'll go on and on. All I can say is you never freaking know. And here's the rules. Can't eat it till she says go. Okay. Because she likes to describe it as she should. And once we try whatever it is she's got, our duty is to rate it on a scale of chickens. You make up your own scale, whatever number of chickens you want it to be out of. So it could be 45 out of 80 chickens or whatever. And that's our rating scale. You can like it, not like it. It's up to you. So with all of that put aside, what the heck you got for us for your first end of show food for 2020?
Well, they're made by Lay's, but they're not what you're used to.
Okay.
It's exciting.
These have crab and hot peppers on the front. Showing you guys amazing. What it is. And these are from Taiwan. So if you can read Taiwanese, you could help me out because I don't know what it says. But anyhow, we're going to taste this.
Now, can't you use like Google Translate or something to?
We could, but I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
No. All right, so here we go. Ready?
All right, so these are. This is just a regular bag of chips, but it's in Taiwanese.
You can read Lay's.
What language is Taiwanese? Is that Chinese? What is Taiwanese?
Taiwan.
Taiwanese.
Is Taiwanese?
Yeah. Taiwanese is from Taiwan.
See, that's how native I am about all the languages and the people.
Well, there you go.
So what does it smell like? So we're expecting it to be crab and spicy.
It's because there's
crab and spicy.
1, 2,
Doesn't it sound like that would be like a soap company or something?
Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6. No, 7. There's 8 pictures of chilies on the package.
Yeah, so spicy crab.
8
we're expecting
chilies is hot.
Spicy crab.
Right, so smell it and then
All right, so Elsie is going around passing him out all of the
That's good.
whatever it's called. We don't even know what it's. It smells. I don't know what it smells like. Like shrimp chips. Oh, they're a weird texture. They don't feel like regular potato chips.
I mean, most potato chips don't smell like much, whatever their flavor is.
all right, so
So
yeah, I expected a really seafoody smell, but no. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
There is a little seaweedy, fishy.
I can taste the crab.
It
I
is
do
crab.
not taste any hot kind of pepper thing though.
Yep.
It's
Deal.
that potato chip, like, backdraft hot.
Yeah.
There. I said but I don't know if I mean I mean more like
You don't mean.
I mean They're not. It's not things that make you go things that make you go. Here, Elsie, pass that bag over. I've got the Google Translate up here.
All right.
So if you've never used Google Translate, there is a way you can use your camera, and it will translate live. In Taiwan, they speak Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. Okay, so I'm putting the Google Translate on this, and it says, "Yogo is very spicy. Lay's National Spicy Spicy." It says, million votes, bagel voting. I can't decide if it's million votes or bagel voting. Turn it over, please. Spicy Thai, spicy fried.
Yeah, I got the fried crab thing, but I don't get the spicy part.
Yeah.
Seasoned carefully with special crab pepper or selected peppers and fragrant crab.
Fragrant.
Absolutely exciting and delicious.
Well, that's true.
Well, the fact
Crazy
that you said
spicy
and
taste.
you don't want any more, I don't think there's the delicious factor.
Makes people want to stop.
Eating it.
That sounds like a Google Translate problem. So good, you'll have to stop.
Anyway, this is I have to say, I have not completely eaten my pile yet because I have questions. I have so many questions.
All right.
So, how many chickens do you give this very unusual food, Mr. Lillie?
Well, as a shout out to my fellow physicists, I give it 137, which is a number that just means a lot to physicists.
Why does it mean a lot to physicists?
It's there's something called the fine structure constant, which is just a very important number, and it's 1 over 137. No, so that's right. I should give it a 1/137th of a chicken. That is my rating.
So, is that your number of chickens that your score's out of, or is that the number of?
No, that's the number I'm giving it.
And out of
I'm
how
not
many?
disclosing how many. I think out of 1.
Oh,
All right.
just out of respect to the crabs, or
Yeah.
what about you, Elsie?
I think I'm gonna give it like 17 out of 72.
Yeah,
I'm really disappointed.
I'm gonna give it.
I would never buy it again. It's not disgusting. It's not awful, but it's blah.
I'm
It's
giving
not.
it
It's just
200
disappointing.
271 out of 1,100 chickens for me.
Yeah.
It was. I'm glad I tried it.
Yep.
It's not going to make me throw up, but I would never have it again.
And you know who would really hate it?
Oh, Danielle. No, every part of it she would hate.
The only
Every
thing
part of
that
it.
the only redeeming thing would be that it's not as hot as it's advertised, and she'd be like, "Oh, good,"
That's it.
because she hates spicy stuff.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Elsie, for this. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
No, I appreciate it. So, and again, big thanks to Ben Lillie for being on the show. It was so nice to meet you, Ben.
Thanks for having me on.
Wonderful
This
to
was
hear
Yeah,
your story.
thank you.
Turns out this was better than getting my medications.
See, you didn't even know you know.
Winner.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this great episode of Funny People Talking, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elsie, as always.
Thanks.
Danielle, we miss you. That's it, everybody. We'll see you next week. And until then, stay funny.
That's it? That's the end of the show? Boy, oh boy, what a crock. This was Funny People Talking. No portion of the content may be reproduced or published without the strict written permission of the producers. Connect with our show at Mouth Media Network or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. I'm your announcer, Peter Coleman. Thanks for listening.
This is Mouth Media Network. Amplify and connect.